All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video, and I've got a interesting video for you guys today. We are going to be talking about a new format that I've been working on. I've been working on this format for probably 2 or 3 months now. Me and my buddy Mike, we've been working on this together, and I'm going to show you guys some gameplay of it later in the video. But actually, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let me lay out the video so we can just dive straight into this. This will not be a standard video with a VV Lab or topic of the day. It's basically this whole thing is going to be the topic of the day. So, first things first, we're going to go through I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about where I'm coming from with this idea for this format. Then we're going to talk about the rules and dissect them and really dive into them so that everybody understands them straight up front. Then we're going to hop into some gameplay of me and my buddy Mike playing this format, playing it out, and we'll go over it like that. We'll talk about that. And then we'll finish up with going over a few ideas I've had. There's going to be so many possibilities for this format, guys, for playing in the future and things like that. Where it's just going to be a lot to talk about at the end. And then we'll wrap it up. I'll show you guys the Discord where you're going to be able to find the rules, where you can just copy paste them over to wherever you need if you want to play it locally and stuff like that, okay? So yeah, let's do this, guys. Let's get straight into it. I will still have everything time-stamped, of course. Probably no relevant links or deck lists in the comment section for this one, because it's just something I'm coming up with here. Now, let's do this, guys. Let's get into it. So first things first, I have this idea here. I've been working on this for a while, like I said, and the idea is this. I wanted a new format in the game. It didn't necessarily have to be competitive, okay? It just had to be something fun and something that would let me use some of the cards that don't get to get used very often, and maybe even use some of the leaders that don't get to use very often. So I came up with this idea for a 3-color, 2-leader, 1 stage, and I should say 1 type, 1 shared type deck, okay, or format. So again, let me say that one more time. 3 colors, 2 leaders, 1 shared type format that has to have a stage as well. Okay, now that was the main framework of it, because I wanted to be able to combine, like what we see on the screen here. Notice, for those who are not aware, for those who might not know all the types off the top of your head, Gecko Moria is a Thriller Bark leader, right? Well, he's also a 7 Warlords of the Sea, and it says it down there, the types, you just can't see it on the screen right here. Well, it just so happens Blurple Croc is also 7 Warlords of the Sea, and he's Baroque. So in this game mode, you're going to be able to combine 2 different leaders for 3 different colors. And now that once we get into the rules, I think it will make much more sense, and especially when we look at the gameplay, I think it'll be pretty intuitive for most people. So bear with me. Hang on. I know some people are jumping straight to conclusions like, oh, that'll be broken or this, that, the other. Calm down. Bear with me. Give me a chance here. Now, let's go ahead and hop straight into this. Let me move my face down. Okay. Got to put the glasses on for this part. So first things first here, let's talk about deck construction rules, because the actual rules of the game are almost identical. There's a few little exceptions we're going to go over here, but everything else is pretty much identical. Now, check this out, guys. 1A, your deck must consist of 2 leaders, 1 stage, 50 cards, and 10 Dawn. The 50 cards and 10 Dawn part, that's completely normal, right? The 1 stage is actually going to start outside of the deck. And the same thing with the 2 leaders. They're outside of the deck, so you'll need 50 cards, and then the 2 leaders and stage are outside of that along with the Dawn. We'll talk about that more as we get into it. 1B, cards with a type that includes former or ally of one of your leader types may also be included in the deck. What do I mean by that? Let me go over to the next slide real quick. Notice how Kuzan is former Navy. Well, let's just say I'm building a deck that is Navy. Let's say the deck is literally green-black Isho and blue-black Sakazuki. That would be legal, right? Because it's blue, black, and green. Even though both of them are dual colors, they share the color black, so they would be able to make, that would be legal in this game mode. However, Kuzan's former Navy, so he would not be able to be included as per normal rules, right? Well, in this game mode, this is actually going to be acceptable. If they are a former, whatever the type is, of one of your leaders, or a, what's the other one? Ally. I think there's some Whitebeard ally cards or something like that in the game as well. If it is a former or ally of one of your types, you will be able to run that. Real quick question before it even comes up. What about Neo Navy? Neo Navy will be its own thing, unfortunately. That might change in the future. We'll see for balance purposes. But Neo Navy is not currently something I want in that distinction. Okay, 1C. Excuse me. Cards that search for a type may also select cards with a former or ally included in the search that match the type. So in this game mode, let's go back to what we were saying here. For those who are not aware, the way Brand New works and the way it's worded with the official rules, you would not be able to normally search up Kuzan. That's not allowed in the actual game because it has to be worded a little bit differently. Don't worry about that technicality though. For now, in this game mode, it does not exist. So in other words, in this game mode, your Brand News will be able to search up your Kuzans. Okay? I know, that might be some people, and same thing with Rosinante, by the way, but I guess that would have already been possible anyway with Green and Black because he's a Navy as well. Okay, so let's get back. I don't want to get too... I want to like go down these rabbit trails for each one of these cards, but let me stay on the script here or we'll get lost. Next up, 1D. Cards with effects that feature color restrictions. Like 8 cost Rosinante that we just saw, 4 cost Rebecca, 1 cost green 2K counter Otama, 7 cost Ivankov, etc. Lose all color restrictions. So in other words, what am I saying? I have Rosinante on here for a specific reason. Notice his on-play effect. You may rest this You may rest this character, play up to 1 green character card with a cost of 5 from your hand. In this game mode, that is no longer a restriction. You can actually play up to 1 character card with a cost of 5 from your hand. Any other restrictions still apply. Like, for example, if it's like Tashigi, the 5 cost Tashigi, it says if your leader's Smoker, well then you do have to have a leader that's Smoker or you won't be able to use it. However, with this specific game mode, remember, we are type locking the deck. So the restrictions are already in place, right? There's already major restrictions in type locking what we're doing, and something we're going to get into a little bit later, you're not going to be able to have 4 card play sets in this deck in this game mode. We'll talk about that more a little more in a minute. Okay, so then the dash under 1D right here, due to type and color restrictions already existing in this format, the way they do, because you do have to restrict to whatever colors you can have with your 3 leaders, right? Or with your 2 leaders, the 3 colors. Extra restrictions are not necessary. All other restrictions still apply. Now, as the game of One Piece TCG grows, notice down here at the bottom where the asterisks are. Asterisk. It's hard to say that plural. Where those are. As the game of One Piece TCG grows and the card pool expands, a conversation will come up about increasing the deck size to 60 at some point in the future. Potentially 70 down the road, but I actually don't want to go there. I think 60 will be perfect for how this game works. Okay, then one more, the other asterisk down here. In the future, there needs to be a conversation about removing leader restrictions from cards like Flame Emperor and Tashigi. They're not in play yet. Now, of course, if you want to do house rules, I'll talk about house rules later, guys. This is meant to be a casual, fun format. If you talk to everybody at your locals and say, hey, do you guys care if we do this? By all means. But for the time being, guys, I think we should stick to those restrictions. I think it'll be better for the game and for the experience. Okay, because this is meant to be, if you haven't noticed, guys, with the type locking, this is meant to be a very thematic version of the game. Like, right? Like, instead of, I just want to give an example. Like, currently in the game, if you go Gecko Moria, which is Thriller Bark, to play out a, excuse me, I'm spitting everywhere, to play out a Rebecca, which is Dressrosa, and a Helmeppo, that's Navy, to cheat out a Rob Lucci, that's CP, it's just kind of all over the place, right? And I kind of want to avoid that. I want it to be a very thematic, fun, chill, casual game format and style. Okay, let's go to the next one. Part 2, there's only 4 parts. Don't worry, this won't take long at all. 2A, your 2 leaders must, capital M-U-S-T, must share 1 type and then combine for a total of 3 colors. So in other words, let me show you what that looks like. Like, say I want to make a deck with black, yellow, Lin. Okay, well then I'll just add Katakuri and that'll be my second leader, right? Wrong. That is only 2 colors, black and yellow. Okay? However, say I want to make a deck with black, yellow, Lin, and I want to play with purple, yellow, Pudding. Okay, ding, 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 we got a winner. Perfect. They're both Big Mom Pirates, and across the color spread, it's a black, yellow, and a yellow, purple, right? So you have the yellow's the overlap, and then black and purple get added. However, in that situation, notice the types down here. Let me zoom in a little bit. We'll just take my word for it, guys. Charlotte Pudding is just Big Mom Pirates. But check this out, guys. Charlotte Linlin is 4 Emperors and Big Mom Pirates. So when you go to construct your deck, you can include any Big Mom Pirates cards in there and any 4 Emperors cards in there. Okay, hopefully it's starting to make sense. It's starting to sink in. Now, in the future, if there's ever a Big Mom Pirates leader that will be something other than yellow and dual color, then you might be able to fit in Charlotte Katakuri, right? And I will say that up front, guys. Certain leaders, because the game is so young, certain leaders just won't be accessible yet. And that's no one's fault, right? We have to give Bandai time to develop the game more and more. But as the game gets developed more and more, I think this game mode will only become more and more fun. Okay, now let's go back to 2 here. Okay, so your 2 leaders, back to 2A, right at the very top. Your 2 leaders must share 1 type and combine for a total of 3 colors. Not 2, not 4, 3 exactly. Not even 1. It can't even be like double yellow or something like that. No, it has to be exactly 3 colors, okay? 2B. At the start of the game, you choose which of your leaders will be your captain. This is very important. Not so much in the example we just looked at, but hear me out. You must choose one to be your captain, and which is going to be your first mate or secondary. Your captain is the only... So let me go to 2C immediately. The captain / primary is the only leader who can be attacked directly and starts the game off in play. Why is that relevant? Because in this game, certain leaders can get to 6,000 power, or they just are 6,000 power. So for this game mode, if you have a 6,000 power leader, then why would your opponent ever attack that leader? They would just attack the smaller leader, right? So in this game, you have the captain. Now, don't worry, your secondary first mate, they will still be able to attack. You just can't attack into them to deal damage, to deal life. Okay? Now, let me go to 2C here. Or excuse me, that's what we just did. 2D says the first mate, or the secondary leader, enters the game on the refresh phase of turn 2. Okay? Therefore, it cannot attack until the next turn. Right, so it's almost like it's a free character you just played out, but they don't get to attack because they just came into play. Okay, and you'll see that in action when we go to the gameplay. That'll make a lot more sense when you see it in action. Now, 2E. Okay, 2E. Your starting life total is the combined total of your 2 leaders minus 2. It's minus 2 for balance purposes for the 6,000 power leaders. On top of that, we'll talk about this. Actually, we're about to talk about it right here. This game mode is not just meant to be for 2 players. This is meant to be a 4-player game mode as well. So you can do 2v2, or 1 versus 1, or 1 versus 1 versus 1, or 1v1v1v1, the whole 4-player free-for-all, right? That is going to be a real option. And I already heard someone already came up with a really cool idea for this on the Discord. They said maybe we call that the 4 Emperors game mode. Guys, be thinking of names for this game format. If you are interested, if you do think it can work, I need help coming up with these these names for this for a format like this. Now, okay, so your starting life total is the combined of your 2 leaders minus 2. However, okay, so here's where I was going with that. In a 3-player game mode where it's 1 versus 1 versus 1, it's going to be your starting life total is the combined total of your 2 leaders minus 1. And in a 4-player mode, it's the total of your 2 leaders combined. No minus, no subtraction at all. You see how it goes down from there? So 2, 1, 0. Okay? Now, the starting life total may need adjustments. We'll see what happens in the future. Because, guys, there are, if you're running double dual color leaders, well, that's 8 minus 2. That's 6 life. But remember, 2 leaders attacking. That's no joke. And then on top of that, if you go a monocolored leader and a dual color leader, which you can do, I'll explain that in a minute, that's 9 life. So minus 2, that's a 7 life leader. Very, very strong. Okay, in fact, I don't really need to explain it, right? It's in the very first spot here. These are both these are both 7 Warlords leaders. Okay, however, look at the stage. The stage is Thriller Bark. Because one thing we're about to explain in a minute is whatever types your leaders have, you can have characters in the deck that have that type, even if it's not the same one they share. Like, for example, this is a Baroque Works, and the Crocodile is a Baroque Works 7 Warlords leader, right? Whereas Gecko is a 7 Warlords Thriller Bark leader. So in this deck, and we're going to see an example in the game today, I would be able to run Thriller Bark, 7 Warlords, and Baroque Works in this deck. Okay, and notice what my stage is back here, Thriller Bark. Okay, now I'll try to pick up the pace here. For now, a player may choose to use 2 leaders with the same name. This may change over time. So, for example, if you want to play red, yellow Sabo and red, black Sabo, that's fine for now. But I think over the course of the of this game expanding, I would like for it to be like where you have two different leaders, two different named leaders. Of course, they have to be two different leaders, but two different names. Like, so in other words, red, black Sabo and red, yellow Bello Betty. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. And guys, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask in the comment section below. Now, next point here. So we already went over this example, right? Now, part 3. We only got 2 left, guys, 3 and 4. Your stage must share a color and a type with at least one of your leaders. So like what we looked at in the beginning here, let's do this one as an example. So if I were running black, yellow, Lin, purple, yellow pudding, well, I would use the Big Mom Pirate stage, right? It's like a 2 or 3 call stage, Big Mama Chanter or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. Okay, but you'd be able to run that as your stage. Okay, now your stage enters the game on turn 3. Okay, therefore you cannot use it until then. Okay, now if your stage would leave play because of any effect, because notice there are some cards in the game that destroy stages or like bottom deck them or whatever. Instead, you turn them face down on the field and it is now broken. Right. On any turn after your stage has been broken, you may pay to fix it. Sorry for all the air quotes, guys. You can pay to fix it during your upkeep phase by paying its cost. The upkeep phase, guys, I didn't really explain. It's just your refresh phase. Okay, I call it the upkeep phase. That's something we will have to talk about at some point. I'll try to talk about it later. But the idea is this: in One Piece, you have the phases of refresh, draw, main, end, right? Well, in this game mode, it would make more sense to have the untap, where you untap everything, upkeep, where you add the 2 Dawn, and if it's turn 2, you play out your second leader. If it's turn 3, you play out your stage, and then you draw for the turn and go from there. Now, let me, at the very bottom here, here's one thing we're working on right now. Literally, as I'm talking about this, remember, guys, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to make this game mode fun and balanced and exciting. Not all types in the game have a stage yet. That's very frustrating, because think about this, guys. Think about how cool this deck would be. Red, purple Uda, and green Uda. Remember what I was saying, guys. You can share the same leader currently. That is still fine in the rules. That would be an amazing red, green, purple film deck, right? But it doesn't have a stage. And stage currently is a stipulation. You must run the deck with stage, because, guys, the stage adds a lot of value over the course of the game. Trust me, it does, or at least it can. But one thing I think we're going to do, especially for now when the game is still young and there's not many stages in the game yet, if you want to run, excuse me, if you would like to run red, purple, green Uda, like that combination, I think we are going to allow that to happen. However, you just won't have a stage. If that is like a handicap you want to go into the match with, if you want to elect to do so, you can. That will be completely fine, especially for now when we're trying to figure out what's going to work. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Now, real quick, remember how I worded this. I tried to word everything very meticulously, like very, very detailed. Your stage enters the game on turn 3, so it is on play turn 3. So, in other words, if you're running the Navy deck we mentioned earlier, green, black Isho, blue, black Sakazuki, that's another thing. I don't know if I actually wrote this down here. No cards are banned. 0 cards are banned currently. We'll talk about that more in a minute as well. I know some people think, like, even Moby Dick? Yes, even Moby Dick. Because, guys, in this format, any deck with Whitebeard is going to have a minimum of 6 health. So going down to 1 life, or 6 life, I should say, it's probably going to be closer, like, we'll talk about a red, blue, yellow Whitebeard Pirates deck later, but it's a 6 life leader plus a 4 life leader. That's 10 minus 2. That's an 8 life leader. Moby Dick, if it comes into play on turn 3, that is a dead stage the entire game. So trust me, it might seem like, oh, that's going to be broken. Try it out for yourself. See if it is. If it is, tell us. You know what I mean? But I don't think it will be. Now, real quick, on play effects will happen right on turn 3. So in this case right here, if we were using Navy headquarters, let me zoom in. This has an on play to give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 cost during the turn as an on play. And then the activate main's the same thing. So in this situation here, on turn 3, when this Navy headquarters comes into play for you, you're going to be able to give -1 basically in your refresh phase. Okay? And then activate main, you'll be able to do -1 as well. Okay? Now, real quick, in the case of Birdcage, because yes, this is a very, very strong stage, right? If your leader is Don Quixote do Flamingo, all characters with a cost of 5 or less do not become active in your and your opponent's refresh phases. End of turn, if you have 10 cards on your field, KO all rested characters with a cost of 5 or less, then trash this stage. Remember what I said. If a stage would be, if the stage, let me go back, if it leaves the field for any reason, right here, if your stage would leave play because of any effect, it is instead turned face down on the field and it is now broken, okay? On any turn after your stage has been broken, you may pay to fix it during your upkeep phase or your refresh phase. But if you want to do that, now you have to pay the cost. So when it comes into play the first time on turn 3, it's completely free, okay? But in the case of Birdcage here, okay, you're going to have to pay 5 if you want to put this back into play. And that might be worth it, right? Like, it depends on the matchup, but that might actually be worth paying for it again to lock down their board. But that's 5 Dawn. Can you afford to do that? Maybe. We'll have to see what happens, right? We'll have to see what happens. Okay, we got one more rule to go over. This is kind of the biggest one, so bear with me. This is the really, detailed, fine-tuned part. Your deck can only include characters and event cards that share colors and types with your leader. No stages. Because remember, guys, the stage starts outside of the game and comes into play on turn 3. There's no stage can be played in the deck. You can't, like, replace it from hand. It's not allowed to exist in your deck, per the rules of this format. Your deck can only include only two of the same commons, uncommons, and rares. I want that to change over time to 1. But the game is still very young. As the game grows and we get access to more and more cards, then we can start trimming back on it. But guys, realistically, that's probably like 5 sets away. I'm not exaggerating. That's probably like 5 or 6 sets away. We'll have to see what happens. We don't know what's coming out in the future. But if I had to guess, we're talking a whole block away. So, on the Discord, I'm going to have the rules where I will update it over time as it needs to be updated. Okay. Now, your deck can only include 1 of the same promo, super rare, or secret rare. So, for example, let's go back to the this right here. So, if I were making a black-green navy deck, right, a blue-black-green navy deck, I could run 2 brand news because he's just a rare. But I can only run 1 Kuzan and 1 Rosinante. I can run both, but I can only run 1 of each, but 2 of the brand news because it's under a super rare, right? Promos we're only doing as a 1 of, because one big draw to this game mode is I want it to be super cheap and affordable, because when you don't have to buy a full play set of Brooks, all of a sudden, by the way, black yellow red will probably be a really cool straw hat deck. There could be something there. I don't want to go. I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but bear with me. I want this game mode to be very, very affordable, very casual, and very, very chill. A fun, chill format. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. Now, back to where we were. We did 4B and 4C. 4D. This is a fun one. I gotta give credit directly to my buddy Mike for this one. There's a mercenary rule in this game. It allows for you to run 1 secret rare to be included in your deck that shares a color with one of your leaders. So as long as it's one of your 3 colors, you can run 1 secret rare, even if it does not have the same type. Okay? So that can be very fun. Think about if you're running red, silvers. I put it at the back here. If you're running a red deck, maybe throw in Silver's Rayleigh. If you're running a blue deck, maybe Soga King. Just a really cool way to add something, a little bit of spice, a little bit of randomness, and extra deck building, nuance to your deck or something like that. Now, the mercenary only has to share a color with one of your leaders. It does not have to be any type. The type is completely irrelevant, but it does have to be a secret rare. Okay? Only 1 is allowed in the deck. Now, think about this. It could be like a really powerful effect. Like Nefeltari Vivi, the red secret character that gives all your characters that cost 4 or more get rush or something like that. But here's the thing. You might search over it because that's an Alabasta Kingdom character, right? So, there's a lot of things that are kind of built in that will kind of bounce the game. But hey, at the same time, yes, people can high roll and get insane pulls. It happens in any game, right? But hey, that's why we need a lot of testing. And I cannot stress this enough, guys. This is like a community project. I need you guys to put some games in. I need you guys to, try this at your local. See if you like it, see if it's fun, or see if you don't like it, if it's not for you. But anything that you come back with, like any kind of feedback, like, hey, I tried this leader. I think it might be broken. Tell me what you think. Do we need to nerf this? I need to know that information, right? Because I can't try every deck. I don't have the time. Nobody has the time. Okay. Now, let me wrap it up down here where the asterisks are. You can use cards that share any type among your leader types, okay? So like I said, now your leaders do have to share one type, and then whatever they have else under that, you can have any of those cards in your deck. Any of the types on your leaders you can have in your deck, as long as your leaders share one type and combine for exactly 3 colors. Now, while the game can include more than, what is this? I think I have a little typo here, guys. My apologies. Okay, while the game can include more than one of your commons, uncommons, and rares, only one of that card may be in play at one time. So that is a rule that I came up with. You'll see in the game. Actually, I don't know if you'll see in the exact game because we play 2 games. We're only going to look at 1 game today of me and my buddy Mike playing this game out, so y'all can see how it functions. There was a point. Remember, guys, this is meant to be very thematic. There was a point where he had 2 of the same character, and it was a common. It was a Rhizo, and it just didn't feel right. It just did not feel right. And there was another time. We're going to talk about that as well before we fine-tuned the rules a little more, where you could have 2 of any card in your deck other than secret rares. That was an immediate problem, and we'll talk about that as we get into it. Now, anyway, you can have more than one. You can have up to 2 commons, uncommons, or rares in your deck, but you can only have 1 on the field at a time. So, in other words, let's just say you have a brand new. Let's go back to the brand new example, guys. Let's just say, excuse me. Let's say you only have 1 brand new on the field, and that's it. You have no other character. If you want to play out the other brand new from your hand, let's just say you had 2 in your hand. If you wanted to play out the other one, you have to trash the one that was already in play for the new one. They call that like a legendary rule, I think, in Magic. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't think that's exactly right. It's a little bit different because that's to do with legendaries. But just hear me out. For this game mode, you cannot have 2 of the same characters in play with the same name that are common, uncommon, and rare. Now, as the card pool grows and we're down to 1-ofs, that won't be a problem. And I need to be way more specific, guys. Excuse me. When I say the same name, I mean literally the same number. That was incorrect. It's not the same name. I need to update that. I don't care if you have the 10-cost Kuzan and the 4-cost Kuzan. That's completely fine. I'm more concerned with having double brand new on the board or double, some other character. Because remember, this game is not intended to be multiples. It's meant to be what they call singleton, where you only have 1-ofs in the deck at a time, but the card pool's too small to pull that off yet. Okay? Hopefully that made sense. If you guys have any questions on that, please don't be afraid to ask. So again, to be more specific with this part, whoops, I'm all the way back at 2. Let me go back to 4. To be more specific with this one right here, while the game can include more than 1 of your commons, uncommons, and rares, only 1 of that same card may be in play at one time. So not even the same name, but that same card, if that makes sense. Now, if you and your opponent are playing mirror decks, that's fine. It doesn't matter if y'all both have your own brand new on the board, for this example. That doesn't matter, but on your side of the board. Hopefully I made that clear enough. Now, as the game of One Piece TCG grows and the card pool expands, a conversation should come up about lowering copies to 1-of, just like I was saying. And a conversation should come up about requiring all cards that share the same type. That, we're talking like 15 years in the future. That is not a ruling yet. Anything with an asterisk by it is something we need to talk about. It is not fully fine-tuned. It's not fleshed out. We have to figure out if it's the way it needs to go, right, for the most part. Now, okay, we talked about, this was about the mercenary rule. Let me see something real quick. Okay, this is just the final part here. And then, so before we get into this, I want to show you guys some gameplay. Okay, hang on. Hold your horses. I'm going to shrink my head down even further. I'm going to be way down here in the corner, guys. So right here, I'm going to hit play. This is my buddy. My buddy Mike is on the right. He's got the VV Theory playmat. And I have one of the original prototype VV Theory playmats I came up with, just totally linear, very basic, very minimalist. I'm on the left. Mike is on the right. We're just kind of showing you our hands. We're not going to do that the whole video, but we just kind of want to show you how it works. So I get to go first. Let me explain how this works. I went first. I play out, Gecko Moria starts and play. That is my captain. And on Mike's side, on the right, his leader is Odin, red-green Odin. Guess who his second leader is going to be? Guess who his co-captain is going to be? I'll let you guess. I got to make my head a little bit bigger. Hang on, just so you guys can see me a little better. It is very important that Odin is the captain, because he wants me to attack into Odin when Odin gets to 6,000 power, and that is very, very powerful, okay? So, here we go. I went first. I'm going to pass a turn, and then all of this is normal, right? Turn 1 is completely standard. Okay, he had no turn 1 play. Neither did I. Turn 2. So, the way it probably should go is untap. So, untap all my characters. They already are. upkeep, which is add 2 Dawn, right? And then show your, basically reveal your leader. But it's not going to be hidden, so I don't like to say reveal. Your leader should not be hidden. People need to know what you're playing, so that way they know you're giving yourself the correct life total. But your second leader is going to come into play here because it's turn 2. Now watch this. Okay, so I get 2 Dawn. I reveal Blurple Crocodile. Very cool. Now, people were talking to us randomly as we were doing this. People were like, oh, what are you doing? What are you playing? Why are there 2 leaders? People were coming up, and I'm explaining myself, so you kind of see my hand going over here on the left. I'm showing people like, okay, here's the stage I have coming on the next turn, and so on. Okay, and I am kind of doing a lot of talking. We chose to do this. Excuse me. We chose to do this at my locals. It was like a 40-player locals that night. So it was not the best environment to do this video, but we still got some really good testing in. Okay, so watch this, guys. I'm going to swing for 6. I'm going to pay 2, trash a card. Look at the card I'm trashing, guys. That is a Gecko Moria, okay? That is a Thriller Bark 7 Warlords character. Now, watch this. We're going to trash 2. It was a Sindri and a 7-cost Dofi. I'm going to play out the Gecko Moria, which can grab back a Thriller Bark or 7 Warlords card that costs 4 less to my hand. I'm going to grab the 2K counter, playing out the Gecko Moria. Gross, right? Really gross. He's got a 2K counter. I'm going to pass. Why did I attack with my Crocodile? Because he entered play this turn. I would see the secondary leader in this game almost as a permanent character. It does have an effect on it, but it cannot be attacked at all, though. That's the thing. It cannot be KO'd. It cannot be exiled or removed from play or anything. It cannot be bottom decked. It is just an extra attack every turn with a built-in effect. So, just so we're clear on that, if you attack into that leader, basically nothing will happen, okay? Because you do not lose life through your secondary. Now, it's my buddy Mike's second turn. He's going to get his second leader out, Yamato. Seems good. Now, some people might be thinking, like, yeah, but why wouldn't you go Yamato first so you can swing first, right? Well, that's only a 5,000 power leader. So, technically, yeah, you could. You could do that, but I get to attack into a 5,000 power leader the entire game. Whereas right now, I have to, if he buffs up his red-green Yamato, that's a 6,000 power leader I have to swing into, and that's a huge difference over the course of the game, and you'll see that in this game. So he swings for 5. I do greedily take that. I probably shouldn't have, but I do take that. So right here, so all right, untap, upkeep, draw. So I'm trying to show right here, like, okay, I'm going to get the Dawn first, then I'm going to reveal my stage because it's turn 3, and then I'm going to draw for the turn. Okay, so now I can swing with my second leader. Right? And I can use my stage right away. So turn 3 is definitely like a power spike turn. Now right here, let me explain one more thing. In this game mode, I think I mentioned it earlier, we were running 2 of SRs. After these games, we played 2 games on this night, and we immediately said, yep, down to 1 SR without a doubt, and you'll see how powerful it is when we get to it. Okay, and again, guys, I really hope you guys try this out, because this is a community project. This game mode is just fun. This was a blast. This was an absolute blast. So I'm going to swing for 5 while I slow 5. He's going to counter out with Kikanojo. Do y'all see that, guys? Remember Odin's effect. Red-green Odin's effect says if you trash a Land of Wano card, it counts as a 1K counter. So even Kikanojo is a 1K counter. Incredible. Incredible. Okay, then I... Excuse me. Then I swing for 5 more with Croc. I'm coming in with 3 attacks, guys. That's why you have to have a little more life in this game mode. I'm going to play out the Jinbei. I'm going to cheat out the Boa. Now, here's the other thing. I did that in a bad order, right? Because I lost out on 1,000 power attack. Because this is a very hard technical game mode. It will take you a while to get used to the new way to play with all of these new interactions, which is also very fun and very exciting. Okay, so I showed the top 3. I'm like, that's a little bit different. Notice I have a Baroque card in there, right? The 4-cost, what's his name? The secret rare Bon Cray, Mr. 2 Bon Cray Benthium. Okay, so now it is Mike's turn. He is going to untap his stage, which of course is Land of Wano. It's a Land of Wano stage called Land of Wano. Absolutely perfect. And in this game mode, guys, having access to all these cards in your life, it is insane. That stage is so much better than you think. I mean, it's probably not good in the current game, like in the standard format, but in this format, the 3-color double leader stage format, whatever, we have to come up with a way better name than that. It is insane. So he tapped down his 2 guys, cheats out the Denjiro, attaches a Dawn to his leader there. Okay, and let's see what he does here. So now when he swings, he has a 5-cost character in play. That would be a 6,000 power, but a 7,000 power attack coming in here. So, and 6,000 power on his turn, or on my turn. So I'm going to block and give him a 2k here. I want to try to keep my board alive a little bit, but I am leaving myself a little bit open to an attack from the Yamato. And again, this was not meant to be a competitive game. We were trying to do some stuff, like we were trying to figure out how this format's going to play. This was our first time experimenting with it. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and load up 1 and swing for 6. I think he's thinking about it. He's like, wait a minute. I haven't used my stage yet. He could trash a card from hand and play out a 2-cost character. Yeah, it looks like he's going to do that. Or no, he's going to swing for 7 into 5. He needs that card gone, but at the same time, I want that card in my trash. Now, here we go. Now I'm going into my turn 4. Okay, turn 4, so I have 7 Dawn. I'm going to use the stage, playing out the Sindri. So on play, trash the top 5 of my deck. Really nice for this deck, right? Like, absolutely perfection with what that's doing. And I still have 6 on for the turn. Okay, attach 1 to my leader. We will swing for 6 into that vanilla card. I will pay 2, trash a card from hand, mill the top 2, and I'm going to play out the Perona, which is going to force him to trash a card first, and then he gets to choose if he wants to counter out or not. Okay, look at his hand too, guys. He's got Yamato in there, and I'm having like PTSD from this game, guys. You'll see what happens later. That card, Yamato, the 9-cost Yamato, the SR, in this game mode is absolutely cracked. Look at how much life we have. It is insane. Okay, I'm just trying to put on as much pressure as I can, but remember, he's a 6,000 power leader right now. Okay? Okay, he's down to 3 life. However, this game is far from over. This might seem like, oh man, this was a fast game. It's far from over. I'll tell you when it ends, actually. It's probably not that far from over, because there's a play coming up here that Mike does. I'm just like, okay, I just can't survive. This is insane. Okay, so here we go. He's got a lot of options. He is on his 8 Dawn turn. Let's see what happens. And he has a Denjiro, so he will have access to 10 Dawn altogether. Play at Otama. He's going to do a top 4 search. Now, remember, in this game mode, you will be able to grab yellow cards. And that was something we talked about. He goes ahead and grabs the Otama, or the Momonosuke. I think he's probably going to play that out. Yep, just fill out the board here. Seems good, because he's going to get most of this Dawn back with his stage and with his Denjiro, right? This is just free. Okay, he's reading something on the card. Yep, this is where he was like, wait a minute. This is before we, hang on, I got to pause real quick. This is before we came up with the rule where you can search up any color no matter what the card says on it because of the current restrictions in our deck building for this format. He was like, oh wait, Otama, he was wondering, can Momonosuke search up any color? And I was saying, yes, Otama can only search up green, but then later we did change that. Okay, to what it is now. You know what I mean? To what it is now. Excuse me. He's going to swing 7. He's going to set 2 Dawn as active from the Denjiro. I'm going to let that card go. Excuse me, he swings for 9, not 7. He swings for 9. I'm going to let that card go. Seems good. And here we go. Now, right here, I do make a critical mistake coming up here. I still have to be, you know, even though this was just a fun game, I have to be a little bit critical here because we were trying things out with the deck, and we make a grave mistake, and it does cost me. It cost me the entire game. So right here, they swing in, and I 2K counter, and this right here, they swing for 7. I'm like, all right, we're going to do this. So I have 1 Dawn attached to my, I'm just fumbling my cards everywhere. I play out the Oh Come My Way. I have to return a Dawn, so now I'll only go to 8 Dawn. I have a Mihawk in hand. The Mihawk would have bottom decked the Denjiro, and this whole game would have been different. Okay, and they're going to follow up with the mountain, what's his name? I don't like when they have words on that like that. Anyway, the Mountain Sama or Yama or whatever his name is. And so here we go. He's going to get rid of that card. And here we go. So I'm going to go up to 8 Dawn. And like I said, it kind of changed everything going down a Dawn with that Oh Come My Way. I should have saved that for way later in the game. But like I said, we were trying new things out. We were seeing how the game mode felt, seeing how things were going. Okay, here we go. I'm like, man, that board's pretty intimidating. Like a 7K, a 6K leader. I can attack into the Momo. That'll be easy. Yeah, I'm taking forever. So 5 in a Momo. That card's gone. He wasn't going to save that. I'm trying to do a little bit of math here. I'm like, whew, man. And all the options, that's the other thing, guys. There are so many possibilities with this mode because your stage is in play. You have 2 leader effects. It's just crazy in a good way. It's crazy in a good way. And having to swing 6 every time just to poke felt terrible. So I use Thriller Bark, the stage, to pull out a Thriller Bark character. I do a top 5 mill, just trying to see what's coming. And I still have 5 Dawn left, but 3 Dawn's probably going straight to my leader attack, and then I'll have 2 Dawn left after that. So we'll attach 1, we'll swing for 6, we'll pay 2, and boom. Trash the Weevil. Did I mill 2? I don't know if I milled 2 or not. Hang on. Let me go back. That might have just been an accident. Let me see. 6. Pay 2. Trash the Weevil. Yeah, I think I forgot to mill 2. Let's see if I do it later. I feel like I do it later. I don't know. Maybe I just totally forgot, guys. That was just an accident. I was supposed to mill 2 with the Gecko Mora's effect. Okay, so I'm cheating. I'm basically cheating right now. Okay, we get back the 2K counter. Because, guys, I'm actually in like a bad position here. Pay 2, play out the Cerberus. His board is massive compared to mine right now. And like I said, I think the best play last turn would have been just play out a 9 cost. Okay, so he's going to swing for 7 into one of my characters, I think. Okay, and I'm going to let it go into a Jinbei. 7. Yeah, he's just going to be able to eat my board up. It's over for me, guys. It's over. Especially, watch what happens next. So in my hand is a Perfume Femur, by the way. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to try and sneak this game on him. Watch this. Watch this, guys. This ends up not being the case. He's like, okay, Yamato, pop one of your dudes. Well, obviously the 5 cost guy. And swing for 7. Oh, so right there, he had a chance to, hang on, let me pause real quick. He had a chance there to attach, no, hang on, I'm not at 3 Dawn yet, but he could tap his stage and trash a card from hand if he had a good card, and he could attach a Dawn to the Denjiro to swing for 8 and stand up 2 Dawn, I think. Take it, okay, negative hollow. Well, that makes him trash a card. Okay, just, it's at random, 2K counter, we'll take it, but guys, even right now, it was still doable, but it's this next turn. I'm just going to warn you guys. I'm going to spoil it. This next turn is a nightmare. For me. It's a nightmare for me. Okay. So we got 10 Dawn. I still think I should play out the... again, I have a Mihawk in my hand and a Gecko Moria. Like an 8-cost Gecko Moria. But I just... Like I said, there were so many options. I was just getting overwhelmed. So right here. Let's see what I choose to do. Just kind of... Not much to talk about, to be honest, guys. Not much to talk about right now. I'm just like, it's like that meme where the numbers and like all the mathematical equations are just going crazy right now. I'm like, dude, there's infinite possibilities. I haven't played this deck enough to know what to do here. When it's actually the most simple play is just play out Mihawk and just do it. So I do a top 5 search with Doflamingo, so that way I can trash the cards I want to and get the card I want from it and all that good stuff. Okay, and then right here, we're going to... Yeah, oh, right here, I'm like, dude, that 6K leader is an absolute menace. Okay. Pointing, doing a bunch of pointing. I don't know what we're talking about right now. We're going to swing for 7. I think I swing 7 into life. Because like I said, I'm trying to set up lethal for next turn. Because I'm like, if I survive this turn, I have a Perfume Femur in hand. I might be able to sneak lethal. But guys, I'm telling you, that. Here we go. Swing 8. Swing 8. Okay. And did he 2K counter? Was that another Hiyori he had in hand? Hang on. No, he took it. Excuse me. He took that. And then I swing in with the what's his name here? The Crocodile. And we're coming in for 8 into 6. And I was hoping, like, okay, maybe he'll take this down to 0. You know what I mean? But hey, with that Odin, he can trash cards from hand that don't have counters, as long as they're landing Wano characters. And that's what they all are in this deck. Well, other than his events, of course. He's like, yeah, I really don't want to go down to 1, because he knows I'm probably playing Perfume Femur. Okay, because Mike's a good player. Mike's a good player as well. So he's probably thinking, nah, I'm not gonna go down to 1 here. I'm just mad I wasn't playing out my we talked about this after the game. I'm like, why didn't I just play out Mihawk? I don't understand. Especially the turn prior, like before this. Why did I do the Come My Way so early? It was such a dumb idea. But it was fun. Hey, at least it was fun, right? Okay, he just trashed Yamato, 1K and a 1K. So 3 1Ks to get out of that, because he doesn't want to go down to 1 life. But here we go. I think this is the fun part right here, guys. Yeah, he's got double Momonosuke in his hand here. Double 5-cost Momonosuke. Number 1, I feel like I actually would almost just die here. So here we go. He's going to swing for 3 or 7. I'll give him a 2K, 1K. I'm going to use a blocker for his Yamato. I'm just not going to let him do that. Watch this. This is so crazy right here, guys. This is so crazy. Okay. Play out Momo, gain a life. I'm like, oh, I just lose. I just lose right here. It's over. Attach 2, swing for 9, stand 2 dogs. So he has 5 more. And then he, okay, swing for 5 with double strike. I'm like, I was actually thinking he was going to load up on that card. But then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just use a counter so I don't get hit with double attack. And let's see what happens. Swing for 5. I'm like, okay, I have a Mihawk in hand. But I have double 8 cost, what's his name, Gecko, and a 9 cost Mihawk in hand. But I can't do anything. I can't do anything with it. And then he played out Momo. I was like, okay, well, I think that's game, dude. And it is. It's definitely game. Okay? But so, that's why we had to go down to 1 of the Momonosuke's. So right here is the end. Like, this is where we talk. I'm like, you got it, dude, GG. And I'm like, right here, let me get back 10. Hang on. Get back 10. What's going on? There we go. Right here, we're talking. It's like, bro, I thought we could do the double SRs. No way. Because he was also explaining, too, even having double Yamato was also insane. Because, like, say he chose to not counter out of that last attack, he actually could have gone down to 1, still pop one of my characters, gained a life, and played out the Yamato. But that was the way more dangerous play. The double Momonosuke was like, whoa, a little too powerful for what we're trying to do with this game mode. And again, remember, guys, we want this to be a singleton format where it's just one-ofs. We really want it to just be one-ofs. Okay, well, that was awesome, guys. Tell me what y'all think about that game mode. We do have a few more things to talk about before we wrap it up. I just left the camera going. That's why there's 20 minutes left. I just left the camera going after that while we were talking. Okay, we have a little bit more stuff to go over. So real quick, outside of these exceptions for this game mode, the game rules are the exact same. Nothing else changes. It's just, you're just playing one piece. But turn 1, you have 1 leader. Turn 2, you get your second leader. And turn 3, you get a stage. Built in, you don't have to pay for it. And you have to build around the types and colors of those leaders. Okay? As long as those leaders have one type they share together and they combine for 3 colors. Okay? A little confusing, but I think once you start building with it, it becomes very intuitive and very, very fun. Card effects that can target leaders can target either leader. Okay? So, you know, card effects that I'm trying to think of, Oh, that's what I was going to say. Hang on. So card effects that can target leaders can target either leader. So think of Jory Bonnie, the leader, Jory Bonnie. She has an ability to tap down a leader, right? Or a character. You can choose to tap down any leader. But attacks can only be declared against the captain/primary. We might actually, I'm thinking about this right now. Maybe we will remove that. Like, maybe you should be able to attack into the secondary, but I'm not changing anything right now. I'm just brainstorming, guys. Just so you can attack while not trying to go for anything crazy, maybe. Like, if you don't want your opponent to lose life, we might leave that option open, but I'll tackle that at another time. That's not super relevant. Very, very niche problem there, or situation. Card effects that require a specific leader or type can check either leader to satisfy the specification. But it does need to go to the leader if it targets it. For example, let me give 2 examples. The 5 cost Tashigi. That checks if you have Smoker as a leader. So as long as you have a leader that is Smoker, it doesn't have to be your captain, just a leader that is Smoker, you're good to go. You can do the whole effect and all that. However, with Ace, with Flame Emperor, there's a 7 cost red event called Flame Emperor. If you're running a deck, we're going to check out some interesting ideas for decks in just a second here. If you're running a deck that is like, let's just say it's blue, yellow Ace, and red Whitebeard, you can use Flame Emperor on your Ace because it's checking for Ace as the leader. Okay, I know that's a little bit technical, but at the same time, I think it just makes sense, right? But putting that on the Whitebeard seems a little too strong, and it seems totally off flavor. It's not very thematic like that, so... You know, some things are going to be a little bit technical like that, but if you ever have any questions, just ask. Now, where are we at? Though the first mate / secondary leader cannot attack on the turn it enters play, it can potentially use any of its non-win attacking effects. Like if it has an activate main, you can use that right away. You just can't attack with it on that turn. And then the stage, excuse me. The stage must enter the game during the refresh phase on the active player's 3rd turn. If, you know, like I said, we might make an exception to the stage if we, you know, if we want to let certain types do not have a stage yet. Like the example I used earlier was green, red, purple, Uda. Film does not have access to a stage yet. I think Supernova doesn't have a stage yet either. Now, if you can combo that with Straw Hats, you can use the Straw Hat stage and you get the full benefits. However, for the time being, if you're running a stage, if you elect to not run the stage, that's up to you. But if you are running a stage, you don't get to choose for it to stagger and play on turn 4 or 5 or something. It does have to interplay right on turn 3. Okay? Okay. So any on-play effect will happen at that time. And then, last but not least, for the rules part, no cards are banned until further notice. So think about it, guys. If you're trying to think about running like a blue, green, yellow, East Blue, Nami, Arlong deck, remember, half of Nami's cards are gone, right? Because there's no Impel Down All-Star stuff in there. There's just East Blue and Fishman stuff. So not even any Straw Hat stuff like Gum Gum Giant Gavel. Actually, Gum Gum Giant Gavel might be East Blue as well. But anyway, it can only run 2 of them at most. You know what I mean? So the way that this format is made, it is tried to build around everything. Like, I tried to think of everything, guys, and to keep it balanced. And as we get more and more cards in the format, and we can go down to 1-ups for every single card, then it will be truly, I think it'll be absolutely peak at that point. But that's not for the distant future. Like I said, that's probably like a block or 2 away, guys. Like, legitimately probably a year away, a year or 2 away. Okay? Now, possible future inclusions. And guys, if you have anything you want to try to add to this, if you have any ideas to add to this, please do not be shy. Do not hesitate. Say something in the comment section of the YouTube video, or hop on the Discord. Okay? Possible future inclusions. Allow for the captain or first mate to be able to attack the opposing first mate when they are rested to stun them for a turn. So basically, they get flipped face down, you know, like when they're coming into play on turn 2. And then, so, you know, whenever the next turn is, in the refresh phase, they turn face up, but now they can't attack. That is one possible thing we're thinking about. We're not there yet, though. We'll have to see what happens. That's not fully confirmed or anything like that yet. That is something I'm still working on doing. That could be an inclusion in the future. Tell me what you guys think about the stun idea. Another inclusion. Allow for the game to accommodate more than 2 players. I want this mode to be available to 2v2, 1 versus 1 versus 1, or 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. The whole 4-player gambit, and call it like an, I think, you know, call it like a 4 Emperors mode or something, 4 Emperors format or something like that, because I think that'd be so much fun. So if one guy's starting to run away with the game, all right, we better tag team that guy, man. He's about to run away with it. So we got to go attack into his board. Or, okay, I better save removal for this guy in case he gets out of control and things like that. Okay? And when you're going into the multiple player formats like that, you gain an additional life for each player that joins, right? So in other words, like we said, for a 2-player game mode, you do your combined life total -2. But if you go up to 3 players, you go only -1. And if you go up to the 4-player game mode, it is your life total plus it's both your leaders' life total combined with no subtraction. Okay? All right, next up, allow for characters to be included in the deck if it shares a name with one of your leaders. Notice the example, the 2-cost Goa Kingdom characters. So, for example, if you make a deck with Black Yellow Luffy as one of your leaders, and then maybe, I don't know, Black Yellow, and then like, I'm trying to think of one, just some type of, well, Black Yellow is Supernova, right? So you could go Green, Black, Yellow Supernovas with like Jory Bonnie and Luffy, right? So I think you can do that. Don't quote me on that. That just popped in my head off the top of my head. I might be a little bit off, but just bear with me for this example. You actually would not be able to run the 2-cost Goa Kingdom type Luffy. And some people might think, well, maybe that's a good thing. It might be. But I think in the future, we are going to consider adding that to the rules where you can, as part of the deck construction rules, in the future, we might allow where you can have characters in your deck, even if they do not share a type, as long as it shares a name with one of your leaders. We'll see what happens. That's not built into stone yet, but I think that will be for the better of the game. Let me make my head a little smaller so you guys can see that sentence there. There we go. Okay, in multiplayer games past 2, it is a free-for-all. Players, you know, and you can do a 2v2 like I said, but players roll dice to see who goes first, and turns happen clockwise. Let house rules fix any unforeseen problems, guys. House rules take precedence in this. Here's one thing I want to say too. If you're at a locals and like some guy built a deck that's just insane, it's like, dude, okay, maybe that's broken. Maybe make it where if that guy wins one night and it's not even close, or maybe he wins 2 nights in a row, be like, hey man, it's time for you to go down to 1-ups of each card in your deck because your deck's a little too strong, especially for the time being. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. At least if it's possible for him to go down to 1-ups, I think that should be the case, because we're still trying to fine tune this. We're trying to fix this and make it work, right? And I don't want people to not have fun. I don't want someone to come up with a broken deck and then it goes from there. And again, if someone has a broken deck, you need to tell me. Like, either message me on YouTube, like, you know, just like in any comment section, because I read all my comments. Either message me on YouTube through a comment, or hop on the Discord and at me. Like, don't DM me, just at me in the general chat, and I'll see that as soon as I can, and we'll fix that right away, or see what we can do to get around it. So again, let your house rules fix any unforeseen problems. Is a color or leader too broken? Just ban it locally and report back to me so we can try to fix this across the board. At the end of the day, this is a community project and couldn't exist without the community getting involved. Okay, so this is a full-on community project, guys. I need your help. Some things I need your help with. I had the notepad up. Oh, well, I got rid of it. Let's try it. Guys, I need your help coming up with a name for this game mode. Like I said, I think for the full-on, like the full-on commander style or EDH style, 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1, the 4-player free-for-all, I think that needs to be called 4 Emperors format. I just think that'd be so cool. So if you already have a pod at your locals of players who would love to do this, you've got 4 Emperors format and you're rocking and rolling. But what are we going to call it for like 1v1? Will that be like, I think we had someone in my Discord came up with some really cool names. Gosh, I want to bring up the Discord, but that's always scary bringing up the Discord. Eventually, you guys tell me some names down in the comments section below, and I will pick the 5 or 6 best ones, and we'll make a poll. I'll do like a community poll on YouTube, and I'll mention it in the next video whenever it's up, and then we'll go about things that way. I need help with coming up with the name. I need help with you guys playtesting all these different types, because we're about to look, guys, check this out. We're about to look at a few different deck building ideas for like some combinations you're going to be able to use. There's some really cool stuff out there. Okay, what else? And then what else? Oh yeah, so I need help coming up with the name. I need help with you guys playtesting. Tell me how things are going. If a certain rule is broken, did I miss something? Did I overlook something? Help me out. Lastly, I do want to mention some perks of playing this game mode, or this format. Number one, it is much easier to acquire all the cards you need because your playsets are literally 1-ofs or 2-ofs. And I would just go for 1-ofs. If you're trying to collect everything for the first time, if you can make a deck of all 1-ofs, you should do that. In fact, if you want your house rules to be like, hey, no 2-ofs, all 1-ofs, I love that idea. That's what I want eventually. I just feel like we're kind of lacking the amount of cards in the card base currently because the game is only 2 years old going on its 3rd year. Okay, next up, number 2. This format rewards creativity and good deck building. It is a lot of fun to do, guys. That game that you guys just watched of me and my buddy Mike playing, that was so much fun. We're just laughing the whole time. People are coming by like, oh, what are y'all playing? It just looks cool. It's so much going on. You get to use all these cards you never get to use. It's a good thing. It's a really good time. It is not intended to be as sweaty as standard. It's just meant to be a good time. It's meant to be more casual, more chill. And who knows, over time, it could develop into something bigger than that. We'll have to see. It lets you run leaders and cards you would normally never be able to run. Part 4 right here. It lets you run leaders and cards you would normally never be able to run. And then, number 5, having access to 3 colors allows for more really fun and interesting options. Number 6, it is a nice alternative to standard. Like, hey, like maybe you have a smaller locals, like a very casual small locals. Why not bust something like this out? Just have fun. Just have a good time. And then number 7, it is very thematic. It's a very thematic style of play that appeals to casuals and One Piece fans in general. So that's it, guys. I pled my case to y'all. I really want to know what y'all think about this game mode. Last but not least, I will link. Well, actually, let me say this, guys. I do have this up. So this is on the Discord. This is what it looks like. If you're not on the Discord and you want to see the rules like this, I have it in its own channel called New Format. Do y'all see that on the far left here? People cannot type in here. You can do emojis if you want to, but you can't type in here. So if you just like want to try this at your locals, hop on the Discord, copy paste this, give it a try. You know what I mean? It's that simple. Or just hop on the Discord if you're not already on here, and that way you can just scroll through here at any time and you can ask questions, live. You can literally just ask questions like, hey, blah blah blah. What about if this happens? What happens with this interaction? What about this interaction? And if you at me, like I said, just do an at, and then my name's James Wolfric on here. That's where the VV comes from, right? For any of the new players who don't know, Wolfric, I use 2 V's for the W, so that's where I got the VV theory from. It's from the name Wolfric, and the name Wolfric I got from Harry Potter. That was Dumbledore's middle name. Was it Albus Percival Wolfric Brian Dumbledore? And I just thought that name was awesome. I thought the name Godric was really cool too, but Wolfric didn't seem as sacrilegious as that, even though I don't think it's sacrilegious, but you guys know what I'm saying. Anyway, that's just me. That's the southern thing, I think. So, guys, yeah, like I said, if you need the rules, hop on the Discord. That link is in the channel description, okay? Hop on there. You'll be able to go to New Format at any time, and I have all the rules posted that we went over. This is all the rules that we just looked at in this presentation. This presentation I put together, that's all the rules in one, like, linear format. Speaking of that, before we get into some really cool deck building ideas I want to share with y'all, notice at the top here, turn 1 is standard procedure, turn 2, leader 2 enters face up, turn 3, the stage enters face up, very standard, and the rest of the game is just going. As long as you built your deck correctly according to the restrictions, like the deck construction rules, it's a normal game of One Piece that just has, you know, the addition of the leader on turn 2 and the addition of the stage on turn 3. Just everything else is just straightforward. Now, the phases, I wanted to talk about this. The untap or refresh phase, that's standard, where you untap all your cards, you set all your cards as active. In this game, there's kind of an upkeep phase. That's the one addition I would consider it for turns 2 and 3. Actually, just going turn 2 and forward. On that phase, you add 2 Dawn, you unlock your second leader, or if it's turn 3, you unlock the stage, right? And then if a stage was removed from play in a previous turn, you can fix it during that stage by paying its cost and having it come back into play. Okay, then everything else, draw phase, main phase, end phase, it's just completely the same. Okay, so very straightforward. With the zones, I didn't include this, but it's right here. All zones are the exact same as usual, with the exception of a secondary leader zone to the left of your leader. Right, so you have your leader in the middle, your secondary to the left of that, and your stage to the right of your main leader, your captain. Okay, so now, guys, one more thing. We'll end off on this because this is going to be a little bit of fun. Check this out, guys. We're going to check out a few options. Yeah, maybe get your minds going. See if you guys have thought of anything like this. Let me zoom down a little bit with my head here. So here's the one that I showed today, right? Which was okay. I don't think this was the best deck or anything like that, but it was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of room for improvement, especially after going down to 1-ups for all the SRs. I wasn't even running Absalom or Captain John, so I've made improvements since that last game, and I think the deck's a lot better now. But hey, that's part of the fun part about this new format. It's going to be a journey. It's like it's like, hey, let's find out what we can break. You know, let's see how we can take our deck to the next level and see how we can, you know, come up with some crazy combos. Next one, Animal Kingdom Pirates with Onigashima Island. We got King and Blurple Kaido. Okay, that could be a lot of fun because as you're attacking, you're ramping Dawn. You're gonna get Onigashima Island on turn 3. And then King is going to open up the access to all the black Animal Kingdom Pirates cards, like 9-cost Kaido, 7-cost Jack, the 1-cost Searcher. That opens up a lot of room, a lot of wiggle room, and he has 4 Emperors. So maybe in the future, 10-cost Blackbeard. I think he's 4 Emperors, isn't he? I could be wrong about that, but I think they did word him that way for his types. Well, that would be a possible consideration in the future. Okay, another possible idea. Now, this is one my buddy Michael's running. Red, green Odin, green, yellow Yamato. There's your stage. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Deck building ideas for this. I don't know why I said deck building. This is Whitebeard Pirates, right? Understand this end of turn sequencing, guys. Listen to how powerful this could be potentially. End of your turn, add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. End of your turn, trash all your face-up life cards. So for 2 Dawn, if you have enough 5-cost targets in your deck, you will potentially be able to just draw that card without, you know, really going down in life with your captain. A lot of potential there, guys. A lot of potential. And, of course, we got the stage. The blue stage might actually be better for this game mode, believe it or not. Because if you're going down to 1 life, if your opponent knows you're about to go down to 1 life, they just want to attack you at 2. And remember, they're going to get 2 leader attacks no matter what next turn. So you have to really... This game mode changes a lot, guys. It is not the same. It's not as consistent because you can only have 1-ups and 2-ups currently. So you'd be surprised. I don't think Moby Dick is as strong as it used to be. And if your opponent is very, you know, intelligent of that, if they're trying to play around it, it's very easy to just like, okay, I'll just leave you at like 2 or 3 life, and then you'll lose life at the end of your turn, unless you want to pay the 2 with your ace effect to stay at a certain point, but I'll just build wide enough to be able to swing in to get you past that. So really cool stuff there. Next up, doing like Navy, doing like Sakazuki. Well, you might be able to run blue-black Sakazuki, and with green-black Isho. So blue-black-green, you can either run Isho or Rosinante. Guys, Rosinante is a green-blue, so blue is the shared color here, green-blue Navy. You'd have access to the 10-cost Dofi. You'd have access to a lot of cool stuff, right? This has a lot of potential, this package here. Okay, this is what I'm working on currently. This is probably going to be my next deck. How cool is this, guys? Green-blue Zanji, red Luffy, Thousand Sunny. Guys, now I will say this. Make sure you read your cards. At first, I thought, oh, with Luffy, I'll just add a Dawn to my Zoro to get that effect off for free. It says give this leader or one of your characters up to 1 Rested Dawn card. Remember, guys, the rules are the exact same. other than the exceptions that were made in the list we went over, other than the deck building rules and things like that, the game is completely the same. But this combo right here, guys, how is this possible? Straw Hat, they're both Straw Hat, and they combine for 3 colors, red, green, and blue. But look at this. This version of Luffy is also Supernova. Yeah, lot of options there. Lot of possibilities. A lot of possibilities. Of course, I'm going to have to mess with this at some point. And remember what I said, I can also go red, black Sabo with red, yellow Sabo for the time being. We'll see if we have to change the leaders in the future. But I do kind of like the idea of like, okay, you know, Sabo kind of went on like rogue missions by himself sometimes, right? Someone help me out in the comment section below. I don't know everything about the story, but I think that'd be kind of cool if you know, it's like you're like a lone wolf. It's like lone wolf mode or something. Who knows? Maybe we come up with that in the future. But this combo right here seems absolutely disgusting, right? Red, yellow, Bello Betty, trashing a card from hand to fill out, to give everything on your board plus 3,000. Sabo's protecting your characters that are big enough. You've got the stage coming in for free on turn 3. A lot of potential here. Got the 2 brothers. How cool would that be? Green blue with green purple Doflamingo, or I should say Don Quixote with Don Quixote Doflamingo and Don Quixote Rocinante. And this combo here is green, blue, purple with 7 Warlords of the Sea, Don Quixote Pirates, and Navy. So you would have access to your Gravity Blade Raging Tigers, and any other kind of green, blue, purple Navy cards. I don't know them off the top of my head, of course. Okay, and that's it. Okay, we're done, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Let me go ahead and, oh, actually, I can just go straight into the playmat page. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really want to know what y'all thought about this. Guys, I put a lot of time I put a lot of time and effort into this. I've been coming up with this game mode for a while now. I hope y'all like it. I really want to hear what y'all think about it. I want to know if y'all want to try it, if y'all think it has potential. But let me tell you right now, from my own experience, it is so fun. The game mode is actually just so fun. I could not believe it. Because it's meant to be casual. Who cares if you win or lose? You're just playing to have fun. You're building up a thematic deck for, like, you know, Animal Kingdom Pirates or Straw Hats or 7 Warlords or whatever. And it's just a really good time. So please tell me what y'all thought about this. Leave me some comments in the comment section below. Let's please be nice. Let's not try to be too negative. If you're a more hardcore player, like a more competitive player, I understand this video really wasn't for you. But I think for the overwhelming majority of the player base, this is going to be a really fun secondary side format that I plan on updating. Guys, remember what I was just showing y'all. Let me bring up the Discord one more time and like move the playmat page. I plan on updating this regularly, okay? I plan on updating this regularly to make sure everything's balanced. Now, if everything's good for a while, we have nothing to worry about, right? I don't have to update it because everything's fine-tuned. But I do plan on keeping this up to date so people can have fun and really enjoy this other kind of game mode, this other format. And who knows? It could, you never know what something's going to turn into. It starts off as a small movement of players who just really enjoy this game mode. And that's kind of how EDH and Commander worked out for Magic, right? And you never know, this could be that for One Piece. We'll have to see. All right, I'm done rambling. Now, back to what I was saying. Back to the playmat page. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Please do not forget to like and subscribe if you've not already. Thank you everybody who bought the playmat. Guys, if you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, you're doing all you have to support my channel. The channel's been growing so much lately. Thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. Big shout out to the guys over here on the VV Pirates playmat page here, the supporters here. And then, of course, last but not least, all the guys on here, the VV Pirates patron page. Thank you guys for supporting the channel in the ways you do. Literally just donating, trying to support the channel, trying to, you know, just trying to make sure I succeed and keeping the dream alive. All right, I'm done. Cannot wait to read some of these messages. Please be nice. I just don't want any negativity or toxicity. I just really want to know what you guys think about this. Let's talk about it. And hey, oh, one more thing. I probably am going to have to say this in the comment section. If you film yourself, like record yourself and a friend playing this format, I will absolutely throw it into a video, as long as 1 million people don't do it. As long as it's reasonable, I will review games of other people playing this format, and I'll like have its own video for stuff like that, so we can keep the game going and keep the game growing. This new game format idea. All right, now I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Till next time, guys. Peace.